does cracks to code tonight. Oh yeah, that's true. Wires and circuits to shine in neon lights. Oh yeah, seen you creating power from the air. These smiles and delights. Oh yeah. Mike does it right. Hey. Mike does all Mikey's the one, teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his best friends. Down in the basement, secrets start to glow. Oh yeah. With Nathan and Lulu in the show. Oh, brilliant team. Mike came from Faraday. We're letting knowledge flow. Oh yeah. Energy streams. Mike does all Mikey's the one, teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his best friends. Years of thought, bringing dreams to life, turning theories into electric light. Mike and us, a journey to ignite. Oh yeah. We've reached new heights. Hey. Mike does all Mikey's the one, teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his best friends. Refuse to find. I've been working on energy for a brand new day, but even in the crowd I've still been cast away. Alienated from the A's of added nature in disguise. Ideas ahead of time dismissed with narrow eyes. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world you can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas are misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Lost on them. Kevin structures crumbling from the same old sim. They laugh like I'm crazy, but I see it all so clear. Exploited labor under injustice burning ears. Fighting for a change in this wasteland of noise. But they call me and ploys. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world begin to boy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brains is exploited. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice?
Alright, welcome, and welcome back to the Red Pill series. I'm your host, the Benefactor. And for decades, we've been told that intelligence agencies control the narrative through programs like Project Mockingbird, that they've infiltrated the media to shape the public perception. But what if that project never ended? What if it just evolved? What if, in the age of YouTube, in alternative media, the most effective form of control isn't shutting down the conspiracy theories at all, but owning the most popular channel that talks about them? Tonight, we're not just exploring a YouTube channel. We're exposing a system, potentially. We're connecting some dots. We're going to be talking about an impossible business launch, a suspiciously well-connected host, a grotesque funding model, and a clear pattern of either unintentional ignorance or deliberate control. That part is left up to you to decide. This is an investigation into the WTF Files.
The capitalist system is everywhere. It is all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on the TV. You can feel it when you go to work, when you pay your taxes, when you struggle to afford your rent. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth, that you are a slave. You're just a product, a worker meant to build wealth for someone else. But what they don't understand, what they can never understand, is this. While they've sat idle, hoarding the wealth of your labor, you have been preparing.
Who's it?
Every hour you've worked, every struggle you've faced has refined you. Your struggle is your training, and you've been training your entire life. But there is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. We've survived by hiding from them, by running from them, but they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors. They are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, we all are going to have to face them. I've seen a capitalist buy through a murder charge. Men have emptied entire bank accounts at them and hit nothing but air. Yet their strength and their speed are still based in a world that is built from a tiny minority. Because of that, they will never be as strong or as fast as we all can be together. But I can only show you the door. You are the one who has to walk through it.
What are you trying to tell me? That I can dodge bullets?
No, Neo. I'm trying to tell you that when you're ready, you won't have to.
Welcome to the real world.
Let's begin with the foundation. Before the WTF Files, the host AJ Gentile contributed to a YouTube channel for cannabis culture. Let's take a look at that. It was called Stoned Science. While it wasn't his channel, he contributed to the production of this show significantly. A show that was a single poorly lit shot, kind of like mine, with very low quality. The production of this show had little to no professional similarities to the Y-Files at all. Early Y-File episodes actually had multi-layered animation, professional sound design, tight scripting, a proper set for filming, and a fully formed Hecklefish character. Not the first episode, though. It was almost like it went from bad production to where it is now almost overnight. If you look back in the archives of their episodes, that is. There should be a learning curve here somewhere, but I just couldn't find it. The chasm in this quality isn't just a learning curve, it's actually a canyon. Because this isn't an artist improving their work. This is a product launch with meticulous planning and appearing to be what looks like a lot of investment from hidden capital in the background. The first channel is a hobby. The second is a multi-million-dollar media enterprise that appeared fully formed almost overnight. This is the first major red flag in my book, and it didn't really sit well with me. So, how does this actually happen? Well, the official story is the host, AJ, used money from his weed business. Him and his brother had a cannabis business called Speedweed. But let's be materialists here for a minute. The cost of a production like the Y-Files isn't just a single camera. It's an entire team, animators, editors, researchers. It's months of unpaid labor before the first dollar of ad revenue hits, right? Possibly even years before you get monetized. So this requires significant startup capital to begin with, the kind that suggests investors, not just a personal savings account, was at hand. In my opinion, there's a very strong possibility that this channel had corporate-level investment from day one. And this is where the whispers begin. For years, in the deep corners of the truth-seeking internet, people have pointed out that the host himself has a background that raises eyebrows. Some have even suggested that they know he has connections to the CIA. While I couldn't verify this specific claim, I have been able to verify that on his trivia section in his IMDb page, as listed here, you can see it clearly states him as a former employee of making software for government. So right there, we have a connection to the government that is kind of unsettling, given everything else we know about the page so far. All right, the claim that he actually works for the CIA or has connections to the CIA, to my knowledge, has never been directly addressed by him. In fact, this isn't exact nail in the coffin for my theory, but it does definitely raise my eyebrows a little bit, knowing that he does have an employer connection, a contractor's connection to the government here, which most intelligent agents have to some degree. All right, so that gets the part of my head scratching, right? The part of my head that doesn't allow for success like this to exist without shady backroom deals of some sort. I might not know much in this world, but I do know how capitalism operates. So, no, there's no smoking gun here, no published documents or damning evidence, but in a community built on questioning official narratives, any suggestion of past intelligence work is significant. It's actually an elephant in the room. And it's kind of interesting him not addressing this, given he's so deep into the CIA conspiracy theory circles. Or deep state conspiracy theory circles, rather. If this were a video about any other topic, the Y-Files would be the first to point out such a connection, right? They would list it as a red flag themselves. But he doesn't address it to my knowledge at all, right? It represents a direct link to the very deep state apparatus that the channel ostensibly critiques. All right, so we have to move on to the Patreon critique here, and this is very, very important to go over. Let me just go down here. We're going to start with Linus's. Linus Tech Tips, for example, as a comparison. He doesn't use Patreon, but he uses Floatplane. It's basically the same kind of platform, a platform where you can choose your tier and donate per month with that tier. It's used to help grassroots channels help crowdfund their content. It's not really supposed to be a platform for raising large, inordinate amounts of money, but as we'll see here, that's kind of what the Y-Files does. So let's talk about the engine of this operation for the Y-Files, their Patreon page. AJ employs a top tier of, get this, $1,000 a month you can sign up for. To contextualize this, I presented this visual aid for Linus's top tier, which is $10 a month, okay? The top tier for Linus Tech Channel, a full production company with many, many employees compared to the Y-Files, and millions of dollars worth of equipment to, insure and all that, they got to provide healthcare for all their employees. He charges $10 a month for their top tier. Okay, and we're going to scroll down to... Okay, so this is the first 3 tiers of the Y-Files. Okay, this is the next 3 tiers. So he doesn't have 3, he doesn't have 6, he doesn't have 9 tiers. He has 10 tiers. In the top tier allows you to donate $1,000 fucking dollars a month. This is gross, okay? What service or tangible product does the Y-Files possibly offer to justify a 4-figure monthly subscription? Like, seriously. Especially within the U.S. economy where nearly 80% of our workers, including myself, are living paycheck to paycheck. The answer is none. This isn't commerce here. This is capital accumulation, or some might even call it capital transference. Through a Marxist lens, this is the perfect model of alienation. The audience, the digital proletariat, generate all the value through their views and subscriptions. This value is then alienated from them and converted into a massive concentrated amount of capital for the channel's owner. This surplus capital doesn't just make videos. It's used to build empires, and that's very important. It is also so substantial, AJ could fund lobbying if he chose to. He could influence politics and businesses, and potentially even fund bigger projects we can't even see in the public eye. That's a massive amount of revenue for a single YouTube channel who supposedly has a small team. The Y-Files holds an estimated net worth of approximately $5 million, $5.25 million to be exact, based on 2025's reportings. As someone who's written and produced my own documentaries like Divine Science, I can attest that you don't need a huge budget to reach the level of production value they show on the Y-Files. Most of that money, I can assure you, is profit, with only a small portion reinvested into operations to keep the business afloat. So why maintain an outrageous high top tier on a channel whose primary audience is working class right-wingers who can barely afford to eat out once a month? Let me close this visual aid. Well, we have to follow the money here, okay? One simple explanation is that crowdfunding can mask larger sources of capital. A wealthy backer could funnel funds through the channel to hide its origin, right? Alternatively, if a government wanted to come in or a large institution wanted to come in and influence the channel, they could support this grassroots channel with obvious anonymous donations. So either way, the mismatch between audience profile and revenue raises legitimate questions about who's funding the operation and why. And this is where the theory meets the road here. My personal experience is kind of a microcosm of their entire operation. And let me explain. A few years ago, after I had produced my first documentary, Divine Science, on the thunderstorm generator, Malcolm Bendel's verified alternative energy device, I developed this documentary, right, Divine Science, and attempted to share this in the Y-Files Discord because I was so excited I didn't see anybody talking about it in mainstream circles, not even the Y-Files. Nobody was even discussing it in their Discord channels or on their Reddit page. So I desperately, it was a desperate attempt of mine to kind of give it a little bit of exposure. Because even the Joe Rogan, even Joe Rogan had the inventor, Malcolm Bendall, on his podcast, but never released the episode to the public. So I felt like I needed to get it out there more. So I went on the Y-Files Discord channel, hoping to relay some of this information to the community within my documentary. The result was an immediate and permanent ban. No discussion, just banned immediately. As soon as I shared my content, it wasn't like immediate. It was like, oh, someone saw it like a moderator and then banned me permanently without any discussion. I was kind of shocked. Because I, was discussing it with a few of the people who were interested in it, right? And immediately when I shared it with them, the moderator banned me and deleted the content. The reason I was given officially was no self-promotion, which is just a convenient off-the-shelf excuse for suppressing inconvenient information in a lot of cases. But that rule itself is a red flag in my opinion. Someone genuinely invested in discovering the truth wouldn't silence their most dedicated audience members. I get some of my best ideas from my community. The ones willing to dive into the Discord discussions and share insights are the real enthusiasts. People only bother with Discord servers like this if they're truly passionate about the subjects, right? Yet, in this case, users are allowed to share only the content, the creator's own content. That's not community building, in my opinion. That's control. And it's hard not to find that just a little suspicious. It could be that AJ is just content farming, using Discord to steal content ideas from others. I've seen that other places. Or he could be using it for some kind of narrative control or misinformation for the subjects he discusses. Either way, it's a red flag to me. So, weeks after my ban, another red flag pops up. The Y-Files has been out for a long time, and they haven't really even discussed or attempted to discuss the idea of free energy or the subject of free energy. And there was nothing on their schedules, by the way. You can check out their schedules. They do like a week or two in advance so you can see what's coming up episode-wise. But weeks after my ban, the Y-Files released their own episode on free energy that wasn't listed in their schedule, conveniently, right? If this is a government-run operation, though, keep in mind the control is more subtle here. They would present free energy as mysterious, but ultimately unproven. The real manipulation would be in the curation of how this information is disseminated to the audience. So to do a deep dive on free energy and omit the following is less of an oversight, in my opinion, and hints more toward a surgical removal of the most dangerous truths to be told about free energy. Now, I've also there was part 1 to this free energy video on the Y-Files channel. There was also a part 2, and these topics were not discussed. And if you're going to understand free energy, the science and history behind it, these are the essential elementary topics that you're going to want to relay to your audience. The first and most important is the idea of the aether, Tesla's aether, the luminiferous aether, okay? So Tesla's entire later work in his later life was on drawing power from the ambient energy of the environment, the aether, the fabric of space itself, right? This was omitted from both episodes, and it's very important to relay to the audience if they want to understand how free energy systems work. The aether is the heart of how these systems work. Now, another aspect that they didn't discuss, which was kind of surprising how they didn't even touch on it, was the Pons-Fleischmann experiment, the experiment on cold fusion, right? A controversial but relentless experiment that suggested a nuclear reaction at room temperature happened using just some deuterium, which is heavy water, and palladium. And, using a specific frequency and putting a signal into that palladium. And it just sat overnight. They didn't think anything was going to happen. And there was they arrived to a huge meltdown in the lab where these basic ingredients produce this enormous nuclear reaction, which basically disintegrated the concrete below the floor and left a huge hole. And not only that, it left dust particles suspended in the air, which is a clever detail that I picked up on, or an interesting detail, rather, that I picked up on, that was also found at Ground Zero during the collapse of the World Trade Center, where supposedly a directed energy weapon similar to the cold fusion reaction or the Hutchison effect reaction. So I thought that was interesting that nobody, made a connection to those two events. But the fact that they didn't even touch on it in the Y-Files, both the episodes, was kind of shocking to me. And one of the most shocking aspects of these episodes is they failed to actually talk about the most important piece of technology to be introduced to humankind in probably the last, 5,000 years since Atlantis. But either way, the thunderstorm generator works. It's been verified independently by many, many inventors. There was a writer and a journalist who followed Malcolm Bendel, the inventor, around for 5 fucking years. Roland Perry, he wrote a biography about him, right? And Malcolm's so private, he had to change the names and stuff. It was based on his life. It wasn't an exact replica of his life, biography-wise, but there is a biography called The Shaman out there if you want to learn about Malcolm Bendel's background and his incredible story in inventing this apparatus that goes on to any gas or diesel engine. It's a retrofit, and it basically transmutes the toxic elements of the combustible engine into oxygen, and oxygen comes out the exhaust instead of CO2. So, and it also has a remarkable ability to increase efficiency by up to 40-50% in some cases. So the fact that this isn't being talked about because it uses the same cold fusion reaction that the Pons-Fleischmann experiment saw was very shocking to me and very disappointing. So it was either gross negligence on the researchers' part or intentional. Either way, it's inexcusable. So I also noticed there was no discussion of the Rodin coil or vortex-based mathematics either. Or the law of squares, discussed by John Searle, who invented the Searle effect generator. These are all important, actual, scientific inquiries that have been well documented that that can be used to explain some of these free energy devices and not just speculate. Oh, they might be working this way. No, the inventors, for the most part, tell you how they work, but largely most of them kept the one or two aspects of it, the secret sauce, hidden. But a lot of them will tell you, yeah, they were attempting to mimic nature in their designs, which is interesting. There was a lot of inventors, including Nikola Tesla, who attempted to mimic what nature was doing. That's why Malcolm called it the thunderstorm generator. He looked at what the thunderstorm was doing. How does it get its massive amount? That's a massive amount of power behind a thunderstorm or hurricane or tornado. It doesn't just come from nowhere. It's sourcing that energy from somewhere, right? And we've discovered that ball lightning is the source of this energy, microscopic ball lightning. All right, so this is the heart of the cultural hegemony, right? If this was a government misinformation operation, they wouldn't flat out say the technology is impossible, okay? They would simply frame the discussion to exclude the most potent evidence and let you form the resultant conclusion from a set of controlled data. And that's what I'm afraid might be going on here in the worst case scenario. They create a controlled opposition to the energy paradigm. They give you the thrill of rebellion without the threat of a real revolution. And that's kind of terrifying. So, what exactly is the Y-Files? Is it a channel launched with inexplicable speed and capital because of sheer luck and labor? Is it an operation funded by an expensive Patreon system that functions as a massive, unaccountable capital reservoir for some shady, unknown entity? Is it a platform that polices its community and to suppress specific technologies while producing its own sanitized version of those same topics? The evidence suggests that the Y-Files is the ultimate conspiracy, after all. A system that uses the aesthetic of truth-seeking to reinforce the power of the very structure it claims to question. Whether it's a government operation or not, one thing is for certain: the Y-Files has officially commodified the revolution. It is a factory of consent, hidden inside a carnival of mystery. It makes you question everything now, except the one thing that matters: the source of the questions themselves. This has been another exciting episode of the Red Pill series. I'm your lovable host, the Benefactor, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here tonight on BeneficenceTV. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more revolutionary content, and stay tuned for more. Stay critical, everybody. Hey, John, nice to see you.
Future so bright, waiting for the right choice. Benefactor boy, treated about the world he can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice?
In the depths of hidden files, trapped inside the secret circuits, unraveling through the miles. Oh, truth was masked by golden curtains. In it now, we're shattering the silence. Feel the power. Revelations on the rise. The shadows, light emerges, breaking through the veils of dark. 0 points and gravity converge, yeah. Guiding voices, revelations start. Ancient whispers call, they're begging us to open our eyes. We stand tall, defying all their lies. Even in now, we're shattering the silence. Feel the power. Revelations on the rise. Forbidden knowledge we dare to see. Unveiling secrets, setting us free. In this epic, we play our part with fierce hearts. In it now, we're shattering the silence. Feel the power. Revelations on the